For 5 years, leading Burkina Faso has meant pressure from every direction. Threats. Warnings. Quiet attempts to force decisions that serve everyone except my people. I prepared for all of that. What I did not expect was what happened next. 2 Nigerian F-16 fighter jets entered our airspace. No notice. No permission. They crossed into Burkina Faso as if our borders meant nothing. And let me be clear. That move did not start in Nigeria. The decision came from far away. Washington pulled the strings. What followed was not what they expected. They will try to rewrite the story. They will label it aggression. They will call it provocation. They will say I am the problem. That is how you know we did something right. When power begins to slip, empires stop talking. They act. They send aircraft, not diplomats. And when those aircraft show up, leaders face a choice. Submit or stand. Most submit. I did not. I sent my defense minister to Lagos with a message. My name is Ibrahim Traore. I am 36 years old. I lead Burkina Faso. Many cannot point to us on a map. We are landlocked. Sanctioned. Labeled poor by global institutions. On March 15, 2026, Nigeria, backed by American military support, tested us. They wanted to see hesitation. They wanted to see fear. They wanted to confirm we knew our place in the structure they are shaping across West Africa. We did not hesitate. But to understand that day, you need to see the bigger picture. This did not begin with 2 jets. This started years earlier. The United States lost ground across the Sahel. Niger forced them out. Mali pushed them out. Burkina Faso followed. Years of military positioning collapsed in less than 2 years. When a global military power gets removed by smaller nations, it does not accept defeat. It reorganizes. It searches for new ground. Nigeria became that ground. Not by chance. Through offers that leadership could not ignore. Funding. Weapons. Intelligence. Recognition. A signal that says you are aligned with the right side. So when those jets crossed into our airspace, it was not an accident. It was not confusion. It was a test. They wanted to measure our response. Would we react? Would we stay silent? Would we accept it like others have before? Instead, I called my defense minister. I told him to prepare for a trip to Lagos. That is where real power shows. Not in machines. In decisions. A man boarding a flight, knowing he walks into a room filled with pressure, carrying information that could shift everything. He went because I told him to go. And because it had to be done. The meeting lasted 4 hours. Closed doors. No cameras. No statements. Inside that room sat Nigerian officials and my defense minister. On the table sat evidence. Satellite images. Flight records. Intercepted communications. Proof that those jets did not drift off course. They were directed. Coordinated. Part of a larger surveillance system tied to American operations inside Nigeria. Operations that do not officially exist. They are not called bases. They use softer names. Security locations. Training centers. Temporary facilities. But they have runways. They have personnel. They have systems tracking every country in the region that refuses to align. My defense minister presented everything. Then he delivered my message. This ends now. Not later. Not after discussion. Now. If unauthorized aircraft cross our airspace again, the response will not involve diplomacy. And the consequences will not remain local. You might call that harsh. But ask yourself this. When foreign drones operated over Pakistan for years, was that respect? When Libya faced bombing campaigns, was that balance? When foreign naval forces patrol African waters, is that partnership? We are doing what others have done for decades. The difference is who is doing it. And that difference makes people uncomfortable. But that was not the moment that changed the room. The shift came after. Because my defense minister did not arrive with only one set of evidence. He brought more. Documents outlining the full structure of American military presence across West Africa. Locations. Personnel numbers. Surveillance capacity. Intelligence focus. Not only on threats. On governments. On leaders. On anyone who challenges the system. Everything laid out. Clear. Direct. And the message that followed was simple. We see the structure. We understand the strategy. We know the roles. Ghana as the anchor. Nigeria as the force. Other states filling the gaps. A line forming around the Sahel. An attempt to isolate us. To control access. To force dependence again. We told them clearly. It will not work. Nigeria has the right to choose its path. Every nation does. But choices come with structure, and structure reveals intent. Look closely at what this partnership looks like in practice. Foreign military personnel move through Nigerian airports with little friction. No standard checks. No resistance. Information flows outward, not inward. Training programs reshape how soldiers think, how they define threats, how they respond. Step by step, control shifts. Not all at once. Gradually. That is how influence works. And I understand why that decision was made. Nigeria faces internal threats. Insurgency. Economic pressure. Security gaps. When support is offered alongside recognition and funding, the offer becomes hard to reject. Saying yes feels responsible. Saying no feels risky. But history tells a consistent story. It starts with cooperation. Security agreements. Economic support. It feels like progress. Like equality. Then the balance changes. Dependence grows. Decisions require approval. Policies align with external expectations. And one day, sovereignty becomes conditional. Every leader who tried to break that cycle faced consequences. Patrice Lumumba. Kwame Nkrumah. Thomas Sankara. Muammar Gaddafi. Different countries. Same pattern. Removal. Replacement. Realignment. So when those jets crossed our airspace, the message was larger than a single act. It was a signal. A warning. To every nation in the Sahel Alliance. This is what resistance looks like from the outside. Pressure. Isolation. Demonstration of force. Our response had to match the weight of that message. So we sent ours. We see you. We understand your strategy. We are not afraid. What happened next is where things shifted. Within 3 days, communication lines opened. Urgent calls moved between Washington and Nigerian leadership. Questions surfaced. Not calm ones. Sharp ones. How did Burkina Faso access sensitive data? Where did the leaks come from? What exactly was exposed? And something else happened. Nigerian officials began asking their own questions. Who approved those flights? Why was the full scope not disclosed? What agreements exist that we do not fully understand? That moment matters. Because doubt is not loud. It starts quietly. But it grows. I am not saying Nigeria changed sides. They did not. But a question was planted. And that question carries weight. Because the greatest threat to any system is not force. It is awareness. When partners start asking if the relationship benefits them. When alignment begins to feel uneven. When clarity replaces assumption. That is when things begin to shift. March 15 started as a test. 2 aircraft crossing a boundary. It became something else. A moment where the system revealed itself. A line is forming across West Africa. Not based on ideology. Not based on labels. The divide is simpler. On one side, nations accept external military structure in exchange for security. On the other, nations choose to build strength independently. Even if the cost is high. On one side, coastal nations. Ghana. Nigeria. Senegal. Ivory Coast. Countries hosting foreign infrastructure. Integrating into external systems. Taking loans tied to conditions. On the other side, the Sahel Alliance. Burkina Faso. Mali. Niger. We studied history. 5 centuries of engagement. We searched for one example where full alignment with external power produced true sovereignty. We found none. So we chose a different path. Diversification. Russia for defense support. China for infrastructure. Turkey for technology. No single partner holds full leverage. No single system controls direction. That approach brings consequences. Sanctions. Media pressure. Diplomatic isolation. And now, direct tests of our boundaries. But the fear we face is not failure. Failure is manageable. Failure can be controlled from the outside. What creates concern is success. If a country like ours builds stability under pressure, the narrative changes. If we grow without dependency, the model breaks. And others begin to ask questions. If Burkina Faso can do this, why not others? If independence is possible, why maintain dependence? That is the real tension. So they send aircraft. They test limits. They try to define the line. We responded differently. No escalation. No display of force. We sent information. Facts. Clarity. Because once truth is seen, it cannot be ignored. I am 36 years old. I lead a country many overlook. We face pressure from every direction. Economic systems designed to weaken us. Narratives built to question us. Every move examined. Every decision challenged. And still, we stand. On March 15, 2026, when those jets crossed into our airspace, we had options. File a complaint. Wait for a response. Follow procedures that lead nowhere. We chose differently. We acted with intention. We sent our defense minister with proof of what is unfolding across the region. That decision carried risk. Real risk. Diplomatic consequences. Economic retaliation. Escalation. Most leaders avoid that path. They measure the odds. They calculate outcomes. They choose safety. I did not step into leadership for safety. I stepped into leadership to continue a vision. A vision that did not end. A vision that waited. Thomas Sankara spoke of independence that is real. Not symbolic. Not conditional. That vision remains. And now it moves again. Sovereignty in this era is not simple. It is not clean. It does not come with approval from global institutions. It does not earn applause from powerful nations. But it exists. And it belongs to those willing to carry its cost. So I ask you to look at what is happening. Across West Africa, lines are becoming clear. Some nations open their systems to external control. Others build their own structures from the ground up. Neither path is easy. Every leader faces pressure. Every decision carries weight. But history does not remember comfort. It remembers resolve. Years from now, people will look back at this moment. They will not focus on who avoided conflict. They will focus on who defined direction. Who stood when pressure increased. Who acted when silence was easier. This is not about one country. This is about a pattern being challenged. A structure being questioned. A region redefining its position. And in that process, choices matter. Not statements. Not appearances. Decisions. Actions. Commitment. The events of that day were not isolated. They were part of something larger. A shift. A test. A response. And now, a signal. We are aware. We are prepared. We are not stepping back. The future will not be shaped by those who wait. It will be shaped by those who act when action carries weight. This is where we stand. Not because the path is easy, but because it is ours.